Phillip Island, it's the focal point of Australian motorsport today. One guy could become a four-time champion, another young fellow could become a first-time champion. We take you to the Mitsubishi Fuso starting grid to show you the starting positions for race 2. These reflect the finishing positions of race 1. It was a Holden three-peat yesterday. 1, 2, 3, Kelly, Tander and Scaife dominated the race yesterday, and Lowndes, importantly, as Darrell indicated earlier, starts ahead of Rick Kelly. Will Davison shares that row with Rick. Winterbottom, Stephen Richards had strong runs yesterday, and so too did James Courtney, and Bright recovered after that spin to finish in the top 10. Neil, what's the key here today? What's the secret? I mean, it was a pretty wild one yesterday, as we've already analysed, but for Lowndes, does he do the same? Does Rick have to step it up in intensity and aggression?
I think pacing yourself to some extent is going to be pretty important today. Remember, this is race 2 of 3, so tyre management is critical. Just 3 sets of tyres, 12 of them available for the 3 races and for the shootout. So how you manage your tyres in this second race and what you've got to fight with for race 3 is going to be critical. But I keep stressing it's 40 Ks longer. So you just need to be a little bit intelligent about how you use those tyres and how aggressively you run. If you're Rick, just going back to the question you asked me, I think what Rob has said to him is the critical thing. He's got to try and get on top of Lowndes now in this second race without scrambling the eggs.
Not only is it a longer race, warmer temperatures today. We saw cockpit temperatures of 47 degrees Celsius yesterday afternoon. It will be hotter today, harder work, longer work.
And the wind is now from the north. Yesterday it was from the south. Friday it was from a slightly different direction, in the general south direction. But it's definitely going to affect the cars, the way in which they're working, and they won't have tuned for it because this is the first time they've dealt with it.
Two 32-lap events, both 140 kilometres each. The last 2 races of the year to determine who will be champion. It's the calm before the storm. The last car is now in position. Lowndes is on your right. Kelly is further back on the left. The start is key. And Lowndes gets a good one. He's already got past Scaife. Ingle and Steve Owen come together, centre of the track.
Oh, someone's in the grass under the big pond side, and I think it's Owen actually went right out to the right side there.
Now, I think Rick Kelly has damage on his car. It looked like there was some smoke coming from Kelly's car. We'll look closer. Whether he tagged someone, it was definitely Ingle and Steve Owen who came together further down in the field. Clean start, Todd Kelly. Clean start, Garth Tam, but it's Lowndes up into second. Good, strong start from the Triple Eight race engineering man. Tander's third, then Scaife, then Rick Kelly. Winterbottom tucks in inside Stephen Richards into the hairpin for the first time.
Owen's gone straight ahead into the gravel trap, so he's obviously got some steering problems with that Autobahn entry.
Lowndes has a look at the race leader, Todd Kelly, through Siberia. What a start from Triple Eight, and he is on it.
Grabbing 5th gear through the hay shed. Already those 2 lead drivers have just opened up a handy little margin over the next bunch. Here's Winterbottom attacking Scaife at the top of the hill. Stephen Richards in behind.
And look at this, Tander gives an easy passage through to his teammate. Rick Kelly moves up to 3rd. Or does he?
Yes.
It looked like Garth gave him plenty of room heading down there into MG. So now you've got the 2 title contenders right on each other. This is great stuff. End of lap 1, long way to go. Tander runs a little wide. Winterbottom puts the move on Scaife.
Awkwardly positioned though when he gets down to turn 1, when you're out wide and off the race line down there. So Scaife will tuck in. Of course, that pitches him a little, so that'll hurt his corner exit speed. He'll need to cover for that, which he's doing. Oh, someone's gone massively off, and I think it's Murphy. And safely comes to a stop just inside the tyre barriers down there and that earth embankment, thank goodness.
Up to rhythm now. It's Todd Kelly. Scaife, or rather Lowndes, and look at Rick Kelly on the inside, right on Lowndes' bumper. Well, we questioned whether he was going to step it up in terms of intensity and aggression. Look at this.
Campbell Little's just suggesting to Craig, be careful. We know the game that's being played. Just watch carefully, concentrate. Replay of the start, and Lowndes has made an absolute ripper. Jumped across to the right-hand side of the road, and then it's the trouble between Ingle and Owen, and it actually forced Steve way out onto the grass, and then I think there was subsequent steering dramas there. This is on board with Richo up on the outside. Mark Scaife getting a bit of a squeeze here, and touch there between Winterbottom and Scaife on the exit of the hairpin turn 4.
Zinger replay of Greg Murphy. Watch to the right of your screen.
Not a good place to go off. Apex speed down there is about 200 kilometres an hour.
As you can imagine, fastest lap of the race so far, Todd Kelly, 1:37.69.
I find it amazing that these two guys have just been locked together throughout the championship season. Rick's car with a bit of oversteer through turn 1 that time. He had to really play carefully on the exit. 37.69, Todd Kelly, fastest lap of the race. 37.9, Craig Lowndes.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Lowndes has gone wide, and Kelly's got him. Very opportunistic move. Saw the window open, dived through it, and now takes the defensive line into the hairpin.
We made that easy.
Now Lowndes will come under attack from Tanda. This is perfect team driving from Toll HSV. You ride with Lowndes.
That'll be a real frustration for Lowndes that he dropped the wheels off on the exit of turn 2. Critical mistake.
Neil and Lee, it'll be interesting after these pit stops, see what sort of pace these guys have. We saw them work the right-hand side of the car yesterday with tyre changes. Dunlop have just told me for the first time ever, most of the teams even rotated the tyres on the rims overnight, looking for that sharp edge. Phillip Island is critical on tyres.
More aggression, no big risks. That was the message from the Toll HSV dealer team. And Eric Pender, who engineers the car for Rick Kelly just a few moments ago, said keep that pressure on. We are seeing the youngster having a real go here as far as his battle with Craig Lowndes is concerned. A big day for the manufacturers too, boys. The heavyweights are here. Holden Boss, Denny Mooney in the Toll Garage, along with HSV's driving force, John Crennan. Down at 888, Ford Supremo, Tom Gorman has the headsets on, and Ford Racing boss, Ray Price. Huge day for the manufacturers.
Fastest lap of the race, Rick Kelly, 36.9, and Russell Ingle's been given a drive-through penalty for his involvement in that incident with Steve Owen off the start. So car 1 is now in pit lane transiting, and that pretty well puts paid to his day.
Winterbottom still cannot find a passage through on Scaife. It's the Kelly boys up front, then Lowndes, Tanda, Scaife, Winterbottom, Richards, Courtney, Davison and Bright. Warren Love is up to 11th already. Outstanding start to this motor race, and Cameron McConville is 12th. Whincup has come from the back of the field to 13th. Oh, Tanda looked at him, looked at Lowndes at the hairpin. Couldn't get by as Ingle serves his drive-through. The outgoing champion. That'll be some frustration there. It was a little awkward stumble on the line, wasn't it, between the two of them?
Certainly looking like there's good pace in Rick Kelly's car. He's done the fastest split to the first sector, 28.6 on this lap.
Early days. They've now settled into somewhat of a rhythm. Stephen Richards, James Courtney starting to gather some ground on this man here, Mark Winterbottom, as we take the view from Scaife's car. He's growing impatient, the FPR driver. Look at this.
Would you like to do rears at the stop with a roll centre change?
David Swenson asking Mark Scaife whether he wants to make a change to the car. Is the replay of the start. Terrific start for Lowndes, who just snuck down the inside. Actually made a little contact there with Garth Tanda. So that was a rocket start for him. I wasn't sure whether he did it down here through 1. And that's the mistake that really cost Craig Lowndes, dropping wide, 2 wheels to the grass on the exit of turn 2. Rick just drove on by. It was like all his Christmases came at once.
Is that a championship-defining error? We'll find out at the end of the next race. But Kelly has capitalised, and he's run away, and Winterbottom finally gets Scaife.
He's obviously struggling with car number 2 at the moment. said yesterday the car had massive oversteer. It was a real handful. They hope to rectify it. New fastest lap of the race, Todd Kelly, 1:36.3. He's got 0.6 of a second in hand over his brother. Craig Lowndes is third. We've got a fascinating scenario here in race 2 of 3 at Phillip Island. We'll take a break. Be back in a moment.
V8 Supercars on 10. We welcome you back as the compulsory pit window is now open and Skate is in. He was struggling with that car. It's time to make an adjustment. Well serviced from both Holden Racing Team and FPR.
Todd Kelly's further improved the quickest lap of the race to a 36.1. He's got nearly a second over Rick Kelly now. Lowndes has stayed out, Tander's stayed out, Winterbottom's out. It's Phil Key just advising Jason Bright, you don't have to worry about Russell, he's a lap down. Back
at the front, this is Todd Kelly, Rick Kelly. They've been trading fastest laps. As you just mentioned, Todd, that is, setting the pace at a 1:36.1, the fastest lap. He's got just under a 1 second lead over his younger brother. Here's Lowndes, who seems to have gained some ground, and Tander's dived for the pits along with Winterbottom. And while all the talk today about one HSV driver, Toll HSV driver and Rick Kelly, spare a thought for Garth Tander, because he has had a superb season, all but 2 races, and they were the 2 long ones.
Rick Kelly's going to just adjust the tyre pressures on the incoming tyres for this next segment. He just asked to have a little bit taken out, so they'll make a little on-the-run adjustment to improve the dynamic performance of the car for this second stint.
Work, mate. We're lap 7. We've just got to keep pushing on.
Yesterday, a lot of the guys were doing the rear tyres on these cars, but they've done the driving side, or the working side, I should say, for Garth Tander. Mark Winterbottom, though, has exited the lane ahead of Tander. Now, quickly, boys, for Mark Skate, massive roll centre adjustment. He said it's just way too oversteery. And Rob Starr has said to me just a few moments ago, if they end up in a scenario in this race where Rick Kelly is behind Todd Kelly, it will depend on the pace. If Ricko's got the pace, whether there's, I guess, a wave by, potentially.
That didn't look good from the back of James' car. It is very hot out there at the moment. We need to follow up what that was.
Neil, sorry, I'm just walking down here to find out what this is down here right now, but James Courtney was due to pit the lap before, and he couldn't pit. He got held out on that pit entry. He had cars up the inside of him, so he continued around for another lap, but we'll find out what this fluid is.
Zinger replay, Courtney heading into the pits behind Mark Scaife. Oh, he's shot off. Oh, that's why.
James, just to try and get this engine temperature down. We have to try and get the engine temperature down.
And they're asking James to get the engine temperature down.
You're going to have to run it at 7,000, use the clutch to change gear.
They're asking him to run it at 7,000, use the clutch to change gear, and obviously that was water that started to heave from the car.
Darryl?
Yeah, it was definitely water, Neil, as you heard from that radio comment there talking about engine temperature.
Now, to come back a couple of steps to that last round of pit stops, that's a massive win for Mark Winterbottom over Garth Tander. Those two are fighting over third place in the championship, so power there to FPR and Mark Winterbottom. Richards has been serviced. He's on his way. And to the left of screen, Tander and Winterbottom resume their battle.
Just a quick temperature update for you. It was 33 degrees the ambient when this race commenced. It's currently 35. The track temperature is a staggering 45 degrees at present.
Very hot day. Dean Cando's done. His teammate whips on by Lee Holdsworth.
Tell you what, that's going to be hard work in the back end of this race. The last third of the race, when the tyres are well past their best and you've lost a lot of fluid, it will be very, very difficult to maintain concentration. Mark Winterbottom now on this next tyre set's done the fastest split to the end of Sector 1. His teammate Jason Bright did it only a few seconds earlier, so both those cars have got good pace. Here's Mark. He's back in 14th at the moment, but remember, quite a lot of drivers still haven't cycled through for their compulsory stop. Todd Kelly's preparing for his, and he's confirmed that he wants right-hand tyres, working side tyres changed on car number 22.
just crossed the quarter race distance. That shows you how much longer we've got to go in these challenging conditions at Phillip Island.
Fastest split to the end of the second sector for Mark Winterbottom. So this car on target here to punch out a pretty handsome lap time.
This goes to show what a real team sport this is when you can win a position in the pits. These cars, whether it be Ford or Holden, are so evenly matched these days. It's difficult to gain positions. If you can do it in the lane, power to you. Jamie Whincup.
And Lee, I can tell you, they have got a brand new tyre on the right rear of that car for Jamie Whincup. They've changed rear tyres, but it's a green right rear for Jamie Whincup. Remember, Triple Eight are trying to get second place in the team's championship, and they were a bit disappointed when Jamie ran off the road at turn 1 yesterday, or turn 2. They want him to really be up the order there and help them in that bid.
Well, and Bright didn't do FPR any favours either, did he, when he spun? So at least one driver from both teams making an error. And we spoke with young Jamie late yesterday afternoon, and he was pretty frustrated after the season started on such a high. He desperately wants to finish in the top 10 in the championship, and he's back in 12th after race 1. So it's not impossible for him to springboard back into the top 10, but he needs 2 solid results in these final 2 races of 2006.
37.3 apiece for both Rick Kelly and Craig Lowndes. Todd's come in for his stop on this lap. Here's Mark Scaife down the order at 16th at the moment. Remember, he's taken his stop and done a big adjustment to the rear of the car to settle the back down. He's complaining of oversteer. That means the back of the car's sliding uncontrollably. He needs to calm that down to look after the rear tyres. And here's Todd.
Race leader in.
Working side again. Boys, remember, they tend to really lean on that driver's side around the Phillip Island circuit. Good stop for the Holden Racing team and Todd Kelly. Will Davison is also in, so is Karen McConville.
Davison was frustrated yesterday. It was a slow pit stop, and it cost him on the track. That one seemed a little bit better from Dick Johnson Racing.
Tell you what, Mark Winterbottom's made some good net ground here in all that process. Look at him. And he's got a car that's all warmed up, balanced and happening. Todd's now got to deal with cold tyres on the right side, or cool tyres at least. And when you first get in the car, Lee, when you've got mismatched tyre temperatures and pressures down either side, it's really weird because the car doesn't want to track straight under brakes, has a bit of a pull in the steering wheel. It's quite unnerving. Obviously, these guys getting to rehearse this quite a bit from time to time, and also at testing, so they know what to expect. But it doesn't matter when you see another competitor attacking you and you have that feeling in the car. It's a very uncomfortable feeling.
It's been a general comment, spurred on by Todd Kelly's run of consistency in these last 5 rounds. Some people have said that Todd Kelly is unlucky not to be the champion this year. Well, that's the way it goes. And this current point structure rewards consistency, and that's what his younger brother has been this year.
I think Rick's going to come in this lap. Yes, here he is, and Craig runs with him. So, and that'll be strategic. They want to make sure that they stay locked together. So once Triple Eight saw Kelly in, they want to have the advantage here if they can make that happen in the pit lane.
Craig Lowndes in, and just have a look at the tyres going on that car. Both rear tyres, not down one side, but both rears, about 3.8 mil on that rear. The team high-fiving and happy, but I can tell you, Lowndes' bar work, before he pitted, I looked on his screen, he has a 1 to 12 scale on his bar. He was at 10 max, just about on the front bar, and 5 on the rear, trying to balance that car.
The reason that Lowndes leapfrogged Rick Kelly in pit lane is a jammed right front wheel nut. Rob Crawford, the team boss, has almost his head in his hands. They can't believe it. They lost so much time trying to get that right front off. It's really cost Rick Kelly.
Can you believe that? So Lowndes slips off on the exit of turn 2 in the early stages of the race, gives a spot to Rick Kelly, and then a critical problem for the pit stop for the toll man in the lane. Unbelievable. So now all that work's got to be done again, and that's a fair margin. He'll struggle to actually narrow that margin.
However, Lowndes is behind Garth Tander, and Tander will not make this easy on Lowndes. And if he can hold him up, back him up a little to allow Rick Kelly to close that gap, he will do it. There is a championship on the line. The Toll HSV dealer team lead by a long way the team's championship. It's been a wonderful year for them, but can they get their man to the top step of the podium at the end of the day? Here he is, still in the spotlight. We're back at a very interesting stage in this race. We mentioned before if Tander might be able to do something to allow Rick Kelly to get closer to Lowndes, he would do it. Well, Lowndes is complaining that Tander is blocking him on the radio. It is on.
It's an interesting one. There's been a couple of laps where Garth has locked the fronts on the run into the hairpin at turn 4, and the car's just slipped up the track a little bit, and so Craig's got very close. But he's really animated about it on the radio. It's distracting him and it's angering Craig.
Hey, we're working with you. We're working with you. We're doing everything we can. Just keep a nice, cool head about you.
Seeing a replay a moment ago.
So they're trying to calm Craig down because paint swapping and a potential bent steering arm or some other issue here would really put paid to the good run and the good situation that Craig now finds himself in.
It's appropriate we get the opinion of a former champion in the V8 supercar category. Marcus Ambrose joins us. Great to have you here, mate. What do you think of this?
Oh, this is really on right now. You know, Lowndes is a really aggressive driver. He's got to be so careful right now just not to make a mistake. It's going to be a mistake that really costs this championship for either driver, Kelly or Lowndes.
And that's the thing, isn't it, Marcus? I mean, when you're in the car and you're roaring hot and you're angry because you're fully pressured to get a result here, you can see the other orange and black car looming in the mirror. It's real circuit breaker pops out time in your mind, and that's what Campbell's trying to control there at the moment.
And what you're really seeing now, too, is that Tander's really slowing the pace down and is allowing Rick Kelly to catch right up. You notice Todd Kelly in the HRT car's just gone. So it could be a bit of team tactics going on here, too.
Greg.
It wasn't just the stripped wheel nut that was an issue for Rick Kelly with that long pit stop. Have a look at this, boys. This is the right front tyre that came off Rick Kelly's car on his way into pit lane. He's obviously picked up some debris there, the way that it's cut that tyre open. Could have been disastrous for the championship leader.
A lucky escape.
Monster flat spot there. I'll be interested to see lap times here when they come through. Now, all the key runners are about to click off another lap. Kelly's done a 36.7. That is Todd. Bad sportsmanship flag. Car 16, Garth Tander is going to get the bad sportsmanship flag for blocking. Todd's got a 36.75. Winterbottom's done a 37 even. Tander 38.3. Lowndes 38.1. Rick 37.1. So race control have reacted.
And Lowndes was just on the radio saying, Campbell, how many times is he going to do this? Campbell, little race engineer, his response was, he's been given the bad sportsmanship flag, just like Scape was yesterday. But look how close Rick Kelly is now. He pounced when Lowndes made a mistake early. Now it's a fair fight. Lowndes takes the defensive line.
Lowndes has got two problems now. He's trying to get past the car in front, but he's really got to protect the rear bumper bar here. If Rick Kelly can get in front of him and finish in front of him in this race, it's going to put the odds on for Rick Kelly to really take the upper hand for this title fight.
Stay cool, car mate, nice and smooth.
And you know what? We are not even halfway through this race. 15 laps down, 17 to go.
And Craig was actually a little bit taily right across the face of that corner, so he's had to drive the car hard. He's got it right on its grip limit at the moment. And as Marcus pointed out, he's got a dual problem here. Two of these Holdens either side of him. So on the one hand, he's trying to maintain lap pace. He's trying to deal with the guy attacking him who's threatening for the championship. And he's trying to figure a way past Garth. He's in Garth's hot air. It's hurting his water temperature, hurting his brake temperatures, and it's hurting his concentration, frankly.
Neil, I had a look at the bar numbers on the graph here for Craig Lowndes before he made his pit stop, and they have a scale from 1 to 12. It was on 10 for the front bar and 5 for the rear. After the pit stop, obviously, with some better tyres on the car, it was 8 for the front and 9 for the rear. But what I've noticed with his battle with Garth and now Rick behind him, there's been no bar adjustment for Craig Lowndes. He's busy in this battle.
Marcus, how often is he looking in the rearview mirror? More than he's looking forwards?
Oh, definitely right now. You can see it as soon as this bad sportsmanship flag came out for Tander, he's picked up the pace by over a second. So he's putting his best foot forward right now. Lowndes has just got to keep Rick Kelly behind him. If he's going to have a chance for this championship, he's got to finish in front of Rick in this race.
Rick's popped the headlights on just to try and stir Lowndes up a little more.
Jason Richards still yet to pit in car number 3. So he's actually the race leader. Here's Campbell Little, who's almost willing himself inside the cabin of that thing at the moment just to calm his driver down. Roland Dane to his left. Ludo Lacroix further to the left, managing and engineering Jamie's car. So the gaps have just opened up a little bit at the moment. As Marcus said a moment ago, Tander's pace has settled again around the mid-37s. Fastest lap of the race remains Mark Winterbottom, a 1:36 even. Incidentally, Jason Richards has a 14.5-second margin over Todd Kelly, which of course will burn up in the compulsory stop.
Lowndes is closed. He's closer to Tander this time round. And he's gapped Rick a little, so maybe he has got the heart rate down. Maybe he has calmed himself down a little. And now he starts to reapply the pressure to Garth Tander.
See what they're doing, Craig. Just nice and smooth. Work away at it. 16 to go.
One of the big factors, guys, is tyre wear. Obviously, we've got to cycle tyres for the last race. Rick Kelly losing one tyre out of his batch there coming to the pit lane is not going to help his cause. But, you know, we're at lap 18 of a 32-lap race here. It's a really hot day. The times are slow compared to times last year and the year before. I think tyre wear is going to play a major part in the rest of this race and even the last race today.
And because of the varied conditions, Marcus, they've chased the cars quite a bit this weekend to keep them in the sweet spot. And we just had a report a moment ago as Lowndes has another look down the inside here that the southerlies come through and the temperatures drop. So if people made changes according to the conditions early in the race, they may in fact find that they're battling a bit at the moment. Look at this.
He's working Tander over. There was just a little nudge there heading into the hairpin. Out of Siberia. Nothing between these guys. You get the feeling Lowndes is going to pounce when he can.
This is one of Lowndes' strengths. He's such an aggressive driver. He just gives it all every time. I just hope that it's not going to bring him down in this case. He's got to fight for a championship here. He's got to play it really smart.
Down the right side, no room.
And Lee and Marcus, have a look at this tyre that's come off Russell Ingall's car during the pit stop. This is where he made contact earlier in the race. He's pushed the rim or the beam off the tyre, off the rim there. It's got 20 PSI in it, and that was the right rear working tyre that managed to get through to the pit stop.
How close is this? Onto the main straight, and Rick Kelly's now within striking distance. So Lowndes was working away at Tander, but now he's fallen back into the clutches of Kelly. In the draft too.
I'd say that Garth was right on the very limit of the blocking issue here, and here comes Rick having a look on the inside. Over the top of the hill for Tander that time. You can almost see the instinct in the driver wanting to cover, and then he remembered, oh, they've got the flag on me, they've got a warning on me at the moment, so he kind of half opened the gap, and that half gave Craig the opportunity to take a peek. But it cost him in the end because as he negotiated turn 9, he was slower than he might otherwise be. So Rick's back in the game.
And this is one of the great deals about this racetrack. You've got high-speed corners and slow speed. Craig clearly has a great car here on the slow-speed corners. You see him catch him right up under brakes on Tander, and he's really good at MG as well. They're the two passing opportunities as well. So Craig's got to maximise those two slow-speed corners on this racetrack, but as soon as he has a crack at it and he doesn't get past, it gives Rick Kelly the real opportunity to slingshot past him. So it's a real mental game right now.
Marcus, we hear Campbell Little so often coaching Marcus on the radio. Did you enjoy that? Did you ask that of Paul Forgy?
Yeah, I really did. You know, as a driver, you can't see the full picture, and sometimes you get so focused on trying to pass the car in front, you lose the overall objective. And for Craig right now, it's about finishing this race. It's on here. You know,
I know these boys are in the heat of battle, so I'll keep this short, guys.
Because that slows you onto the front straight. You've got to concentrate on getting your own flow.
Temperature has dropped 1 degree ambient and 3 degrees. The track temperature has dropped from 45 to 42, Neil.
Yeah, and I think the flags are pointing the other way, which is the significant thing. But right now, it's a bit irrelevant for these guys. They're just so engrossed in this battle with each other. They don't care what the tyre condition is, and to some extent, there's only a certain amount of adjustability in the car, so they'll have to deal with what they've got. On the last lap, it was a 37.4 for Craig, a 37.8 for Rick, a 37.5 for Garth Tander. The times are tight. We'll take a break. We'll be back in a moment.
Crunch time for James Courtney. Heavy contact with the wall outside Siberia. And it's a very wounded Gerald went forward as we welcome you back to Network 10's coverage of the 13th and final round, the Caterpillar Grand Finale. And while James's day has gone askew, and it was contact with one of the Team BOC Fords.
Didn't look good, did it? Whoops.
Shut her off, James. Shut her off, mate. I think we've damaged the radiator there.
So the voice of Paul Forgy in the background, and you can see the thing's hemorrhaging badly, and a lot of damage on that car. So they just need to tuck her away now and sort it out for race 3. That'll give them a bit more time to get the car turned around for the final race.
And James has been a top 10 car all weekend. And as you can see, the body language is not good, understandably so. Back at it though, and this continues, but there's a little more space than when we left you last between Tander, Lowndes, and Rick Kelly. Todd Kelly is the race leader from Mark Winterbottom. Just 2.5 seconds between those guys. Then there's threesome. Stephen Richards is 6th, Will Davison 7th, Scaife 8th, Bright 9, and Whincup has done a very nice job to work his way from well down in the high 20s to come up into 10th position.
He's the unsung hero, isn't he? Because we've been that focused on this battle for 3rd, 4th and 5th that this fella here probably hasn't had the reward that he should have, because it's been an outstanding run. They did a great job in the pit lane FPR to process the car quickly, getting back out in front of Garth Tander, and his lap speed's been very good. Last lap for Mark was a 37.9, although Todd Kelly has got pace to burn at the moment, still in the low 37s. He's on target for a 2nd race win. Been a clean sweep for him so far this weekend. Trouble here for Will Davison down at turn 4, and drops a bunch of spots, drops in now behind Jason Bright, back in 9th. So Todd's last lap was a 37.2. His fastest lap's been a 36.1. He's got just over 3 seconds on Mark Winterbottom at the moment. So he's led qualifying, got pole position, brained them yesterday in race 1. He's got a bit of a safety margin over Mark Winterbottom, but this gives you an idea of the true gap back to the battle that everyone's talking about. There's Will Davison, who on the previous lap was in trouble down there. So a little bit of, hello, it's me. A bit of Morse code on the rear bumper there again from Jason Bright to Mark Scaife. That's a carbon copy of yesterday. And yesterday, of course, it triggered the run that Craig Lowndes had on Mark up at the Hayshed corner, turn 6.
Now, positions remain as is for these final 10 laps. Craig Lowndes will go into the 3rd and final race, the very last race of the year, with a 1-point championship lead.
Wow. That is nail-biting, isn't it? It's amazing.
Zinger replay, Bright and Scaife. This is where Bright went around yesterday. Gives Scaife a little touch-up, unsettles him.
Trying to unsettle him there, isn't he, Marcus? And he can break Mark Scaife's rhythm, and he might be able to take an opportunity as a result of it.
Well, that's what it's all about.
Great job, mate. Great job.
And you see now, even with the battle with Lowndes and Tander and Rick Kelly, it's about pressure. It's about applying pressure to the guy in front to make a mistake. And that's what we've got to lean on. Now, the gap we'll find ourselves in right now with Lowndes, right in the middle of the sandwich, he's enjoying this rest, I can guarantee you that. He knows he has to finish in front of Rick Kelly. He's quite happy for Tander to pull away right now, I'm sure. He's just trying to keep Rick Kelly at bay, keep that gap as it is right now, and let it go down to the last race.
Well, listen, while things have settled down into somewhat of a sane rhythm, let's take this opportunity to congratulate you, mate, on your maiden season in the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. You finished 21st in the championship. That's irrelevant because you got a pole, you got 2/3. They don't, of course, have podiums over there, but you got 2/3, multiple top 5s and multiple top 10s. Congratulations from all of the Australian motorsport fans.
Well, thanks, Lee. We've been flying the flag over there. I'm really enjoying the US race, and we've had some great help too, by the way, from Craig Gore and his whole Team Australia crew. It's really helped get ourselves established with an Australian sponsor because we weren't pinching someone else's ride. But a really great run for us. We've cemented our future in the US. That's what this year was all about. Just can't wait to get across here and get started again.
Lee Holdsworth on Warren Luff. This is a Zinger replay, side by side. This is within the top 15. Little hip and shoulder there. And Holdsworth wins that individual battle. And to put a cap on that, we're all very excited too, mate, about your step up to the Bush Series next year. You're only one phase, one step away from Nextel Cup. It's going to be a massive season for you in 07.
Yeah, it's very close, and we're really excited about that. We have 35 races next year in the Bush Series alone. So there's lots of racing for us. We've got a great new deal with the team. I'm with them till the end of 2010, so we've got a long-term contract with the team. We've got a great program for next year. The team already runs an entry in the Cup Series, so internally in the company that I drive for, I can go all the way to Cup. It's just down to me now whether I'm good enough or not, and I've got to keep learning, keep improving. But today's not about me. Let's get back to the race and focus on Lowndes and Kelly, because it's going to be a real crack on the field.
Just spoke with Eric Pender, who engineers Rick Kelly's car. He tells me that Rick is complaining. All dramas here for Jason Bright. He's telling us that Rick Kelly is complaining of aero-affected understeer at the moment. Similar problem to that he suffered yesterday, but the middle sector seems to be okay for Rick Kelly. He wants him to work on finding a way around it in sectors 1 and 3.
Davison was able to capitalise on Jason Bright's error there. Massive lock-up going in to the turn 4 hairpin. Avoided Scaife, and Davison skipped on through. We'll come back for the closing laps. And if they stay as they are, 1 championship point will separate Lowndes and Kelly. Just when we thought it had settled down, take a look at this. Lowndes has gained ground on Tander. In the closing laps of race 2, the Caterpillar Grand Finale, Lowndes has a championship lead at the moment over Kelly, but he wants more. Thought about it at the inside in the Southern Loop.
And remember that the bad sportsmanship flag for Garth means that he doesn't have any further chances. He's lacking a little mid-corner pace compared to Garth right there through turn 2. There's quite a number of spots around here, a couple of spots, Marcus, where it looks like Craig's got pace on him. Yeah. Black flag. Black flag for Garth Tander. Pit lane drive-through for Garth Tander.
Tander's got a drive-through penalty. Tander's got a drive-through penalty, so he's just got to be smart. He's got to take it, and he's got to do it soon.
This is going to be a controversial one because Matthew Nilsson is already talking to crew chief Rob Crawford down here at Toll HSV. They do not agree with this call. Tander has been struggling with rear grip in the recent laps, and Matthew Nilsson has been working with Garth to try and dial it out the best they can, but Tander, wow.
Wow.
You can hear the crowd here too in pit lane, Lee.
How about that? And Rick Kelly has come right up on the back as well. Lowndes gives him a couple of taps for his trouble.
Don't do it. Nice and clever and smooth and smart. That's exactly what he was to do to you.
Yeah, he got sucked in then because it's not like they're going to give him a double black flag. So all he did then was make life easier for Rick.
We've got 4 laps to go. Nice and smooth and gappy.
Game on.
Gap him if you can. Can Kelly go with him? The top 2 in the championship, here they are. Going for it. With just 1 race left in the season. There is nothing in this.
There's going to be some spirit in the paddock after this. There'll be some blues.
Is there what?
That was a big point, not just for Tander being out of this race. It really gives Rick Kelly 1 less guy to help him out in the last race right here. He really needed Tander to help him out. Tander was helping him out as best he could there in that race. Clearly Tander was struggling with tyres or rear grip or whatever, and yeah, that was a big call by the officials to do that. But
watch for your traffic on the exit, mate. We've got quite a few cars coming past. Just watch your merge.
James, a disappointing result for you. Obviously, we've got a good battle going on here at the moment as well.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. It's just I made a mistake coming into pit lane. Came in way too hot, and then went wide. Had to come back onto the track. So it's just a mistake I made. And then I was battling with JB, and as I come out, we touched and I went off. So it's yeah, not a good way to finish the year.
Thanks, James.
Aren't you glad you're not here anymore, hey? You've been in the middle of these hot spots before.
yeah, Lowndes can have this all to himself, you know. This race and this day for a championship contender, it's like no other. And the pressure these guys are under is just immense. And, you know, it's all about mistakes. If you can eliminate mistakes, you're going to have a good day and you're probably going to win the championship. That's what it's going to come down to. And you can see Lowndes, he's looking pretty feisty at times. He looks a little frustrated. He's got to keep that under control.
He's been able to pull a margin, Neil, on Rick Kelly, so he's doing okay.
Look at his speed. He's done a 37.5 on that lap, 38.1 for Todd, 38.5 for Mark Winterbottom. He was 9/10 quicker than Rick on that lap. So he's got pace, massive pace.
And guess what? With Tander being removed from that position, that now makes Rick Kelly, Craig Lowndes tied on points going into the last race of the season.
It's an interesting problem, isn't it? I mean, depending on whose helmet you're in, Marcus, and which team you're standing with, they'll all have a strong point of view about this, because I can guarantee you we know what the 888 view is and Craig's view, that's obvious. But if you're Matt Nilsson, if you're Garth Tander, they'll be saying, hey, we're doing our own race here, and they're trying to do what they know to be right. And Rick and his guys will have their view, and of course all the fans will have their own views. This is going to be a big blue afterwards, this one.
Yeah, it's a big call to change the outcome of a race like that. Clearly Tander was struggling with tyres or the rear grip. to some point, and you can see now Lowndes is pulling away by over a second. He was holding him up a lot, so the bad sportsmanship flag, yeah, for sure, he was definitely holding him up. But where do you draw the line? That's a difficult point for all the officials, is where do you draw the line on a call like that? It's a judgment call, and you know, they're in it now. It's thrown Tanner's weekend out. It's taken one of the major players for race 3 out of the equation too. And I think, you know, if Lowndes can bring this thing home, I don't even want to make a call on it. It definitely gives Lowndes a slender advantage, I think.
If you've just joined us and you missed our explanation either yesterday or earlier today, no, it's not a spelling error on Lowndes' car, and the reason for the new livery is a change in sponsors from Better Electrical to Vodafone next year, so they've brought part of that livery on early, and it's part of Vodafone's Now campaign, and for Lowndes and for Triple Eight Race Engineering, they want to make the most of Now. As we go inside Triple Eight, Campbell Little, front and centre, and there is the team principal, Roland Dane. Now, Marcus, you made the interesting point earlier that Tander's not there to help Rick Kelly in race 3. Guess who's been one of the big movers? Jamie Whincup. He may be there to assist with Craig Lowndes in the 3rd and final.
Yeah, Jamie's in the mix, as to his Mark Winterbottom. What a great day he's had. In the 12 months I've been gone from Australia, he's probably the young driver that's really improved the most in my eyes. He's doing a great job out there. He's going to be a friend of Lowndes, there's no doubt about that. But you know, right now, Lowndes and Rick Kelly can't rely on anyone. They've got to do it for themselves. They've got to go out in this race 3 that's coming up, and really, someone's going to stamp some authority on this championship. They have to, otherwise, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen. I really don't. They're both having strong weekends. It's going to be really, really interesting.
And incidentally, Tander has emerged back into the field at position 18 between Greg Murphy and Jason Barguana, boys.
I can't remember who said, someone said to me the other day, I don't know why, but I've got this feeling inside there's going to be controversy this weekend. Well, we've got it. We've seen it. A very eventful first race and a big question mark over race 2. But it has been nothing short of fascinating. Very exciting. We're on our way home. Todd Kelly will get his 5th race win of the season. He won the last one in Bahrain. He won yesterday's short race. And Todd Kelly is the man to beat. And if he could get the round win and his younger brother could win the championship, they'd be delighted. But it is far, far from over. If you have just tuned in, the championship is all square heading into the last race of the 2006 season. Here's your race leader. There's 2nd place, Mark Winterbottom. Stellar performance from the FPR man. Good pit work from the guys in the lane. Here's Lowndes and then Rick Kelly. So that's a massive margin there. That's really grown. And it's on between Richard, Scaife and Davison. Good finish here. Jose Fernandez finds himself in the middle of it, and Will Davison almost goes into the back of him at turn 4.
These guys will know they've done this too at the end of it. Hard work. When cars have got the lack of grip that they're all exhibiting at the moment in these conditions, they're hard to drive. It's hard to keep your concentration up. It's a real physical slog as well as a big mental test. They'll be glad to get out of these cars and take a breather.
Lukey Heights one last time. You're talking about 5th, 6th and 7th here. Bright is back in 8th, Whincup 9th, and McConville has forced his way into the top 10. But it has been a very much red weekend. Pole position, race 1 and race 2. It's Todd Kelly's weekend. TK does it for a perfect score so far. Winterbottom grabs 2nd for Ford Performance Racing. And Ambrose, rather, there you go, there's a Freudian slip. And Lowndes does it to draw level with Rick Kelly. Can you believe it?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Hopefully it'll be a little easier without Kavolka.
We couldn't ask for it to be any better. It is now a square, fair fight for the last race of the year. What do you reckon?
I think Todd Kelly did a great job. He made no mistakes in that race. Overshadowed a little bit by this championship contention with Lowndes and Kelly. It's setting up for a great final race. I bet you Tony Cochran couldn't ask for a better outcome for this weekend's race so far. I'm on the edge of my seat. My heart's racing for Craig and Rick. I've been in that position before. I just wish them all the best.
It's going to be interesting, isn't it? It sure is. A 3-times champion versus this young man who's looking for his first.
So for the round in isolation. Lowndes has got 197 points, Rick's got 190. And of course, they came in 7 points apart, so as you explained before, Lee, situation's unbelievable in the championship. There's the margins at the end, 6 seconds. You don't see that very often in V8 Supercar. Well done, Todd Kelly. Well done also, Mark Winterbottom and his crew for getting that car into that position. And then the amazing battle this afternoon being set up for race number 3. It's going to be incredible. Lowndes versus Kelly, Ford versus Holden, 888 versus HSV. Don't miss a second.